The voice sounded exactly like my brother, but he was standing right next to me. If I'd taken one more step toward that voice, I wouldn't be telling this story. This is what happened in Gallows Valley. I grew up about an hour from there. Close enough to hear the name growing up, but never close enough to have a reason to go. Gallows Valley isn't on any tourist maps. There aren't signs for it. It's just a low stretch of woods between two ridge lines, with a narrow trail locals use when they want to cut through instead of driving around. People talked about it the same way they talked about bad roads or flooded trails, briefly and without detail. My brother and I were visiting family nearby and had time to kill before dinner. We planned to walk down into the valley and back up the other side. Maybe an hour, if that. Nothing adventurous, nothing stupid. The trees grew closer together, and the light dimmed faster than we expected. Sound carried strangely down there. Every step lingered longer than it should have, like the valley didn't want to let go of it. About halfway down, my brother mentioned how quiet it was. He was right. No birds, no insects, just our footsteps and the wind higher up in the trees. That's when I heard my name. It came from off the trail, downhill to our left. It was my brother's voice. I turned and answered without thinking, asking what he wanted. My brother didn't respond. Instead, he looked at me and asked who I was talking to. I laughed at first. I told him he'd just called my name. He shook his head and said he hadn't said anything, said he'd been quiet for a while. We stopped and listened. Then the voice came again. "Hey, come here for a second." This time it was closer, and this time my brother was standing right next to me when it happened. The sound didn't echo. It didn't distort. It sounded like someone standing just behind the trees. That was what bothered me. It sounded normal. I assumed someone else was nearby. Another hiker. Someone messing with us. I called out, asking who it was. The voice answered right away. It used my brother's nickname for me. One only he uses. One no one else should have known. I felt my brother tense beside me. He leaned in and spoke quietly like he didn't want to be overheard. The voice spoke again. This time it sounded annoyed. "Why are you just standing there?" It was coming from farther downhill now, off the trail completely. The ground dropped sharply there into a rocky ravine full of brush and loose dirt. Not somewhere anyone should have been standing. I heard leaves shifting, slow movement, no footsteps. The voice kept talking. Each time it spoke, it came from somewhere different. Downhill, then farther left, then behind us where the trail should have been empty. At one point, it laughed. It sounded like my brother, but it went on too long, like it didn't know when to stop. Then the tone changed. It sounded scared. It said it had slipped, that it was hurt, that it needed help. The voice came from the ravine. I stepped forward before I realized what I was doing. My brother grabbed my arm and yanked me back, hard. The ground where I'd almost stepped was loose, half eroded. One more step and I would have gone straight down. The voice stopped. For a few seconds, everything was quiet again. Then it spoke once more, calmly, from somewhere much closer. "Why did you do that?" The words weren't angry. They weren't confused. They sounded curious. That was enough. We turned around and walked back the way we came. Not running, just moving fast, like we were afraid that sudden movement would make things worse. A few minutes later, I heard footsteps behind us. They matched ours exactly. When we stopped, they stopped. When we walked again, they followed. Neither of us said anything until the trees thinned and the light came back. As soon as we reached the edge of the valley, the sound disappeared, like it had hit a line it couldn't cross. Later that night, when I asked my brother what he thought it was, he didn't answer right away. Eventually, he said something that stuck with me. He said, "It never tried to chase us." He was right. Whatever was in Gallows Valley didn't hunt the way animals do. It waited. I still don't know what was in the woods that night, but I know one thing now. Don't trust the voices.